I'm everybody's cameraman, especially if you're doing porn. Give me a call. All right, there we go. John White, favorite things. Any Tom Waits song. The War of the Worlds with Tom Cruise. Pitching softball. Fishing. Reading. Painting. Performance art. Any kind of art. Sharing stories about any Tom Waits song. The War of the Worlds with Tom Cruise. Pitching softball. Fishing. Reading. Painting. Performance art. Any kind of art. He rubbed elbows with some of the art masters on the way up. Pollock, Warhol, Michelangelo. Just want to see if you guys are paying attention. He pitched softball to some of the Hollywood elite. He really did that, by the way. He was in a softball league. He ran the light show at a Janis Joplin concert. Did you guys know about that? Yeah, somebody asked him to do, remember when they used to do the thing with overhead projector and the oils? Somebody asked him to help on that, and so he did it, and then, they rehearsed it and everything, and then he went to the dressing room, and there was this woman there, and, he said she was horny, stinky, and surrounded by bottles of Jack Daniels. There you go, Pearl. Above all, though, he encouraged those around him to express ourselves creatively. There we go, that's the word. My favorite compliment from John was when he told me he was always a little worried about what I would do next. Right? Hanging with John while he was painting was a life lesson. He pretty much salivated every time I hung a fresh canvas. Right, Steve? Remember that? Yeah. He would talk of inspirations for the current work. A tree outside his window, birds on a wire, War of the Worlds. Sometimes a simple sketch he'd been working on at lunch. He dove in head first, adding that first brush stroke over there, then moving along to another area of the piece. He didn't dawdle. Things could be painted over if it didn't work out. The layers enhanced his art. If I recognized a shape in the piece, where'd that go? If I recognized a shape in the piece and the interpretation was too obvious, it got painted over or tweaked with a disguise. That was John. The color palette defined each piece without being restrictive. The consistency of the paint, thinner and more watery at times, was not much of an issue, and drips flowing down the medium were a definition of his work. Each piece took days or weeks to complete. On occasion, the materials wouldn't cooperate, the parts wouldn't cohere, but he'd keep at it, adding dabs and strokes every time he passed by, reworking something until the piece defined itself. And then the piece was done. It was time to move on to the next. I was always in awe of his decision that that's enough for this one. But sometimes he hinted that he was done with that work for now. And as I reflect on that, I kind of wonder whether it was all about the piece being complete, or was it about John being anxious to move on to the next to new territory. Thank you.